Chinese residents have turned to the black market for generic COVID-19 drugs as an unprecedented pandemic outbreak ramps up demand for limited supplies of approved antivirals. China approved 2 COVID-19 antivirals this year, Pfizer's Paxlovid as well as Asvodine, an HIV drug from Chinese firm Genuine Biotech, but both are only available in certain hospitals in China. Their limited supply and steep price have driven many Chinese to opt for cheaper but illegally imported generic drugs from India. Topics like anti-COVID Indian generic drugs sold at 100 yuan per box have been trending on Chinese social media platform Weibo, with users exchanging messages and tips on ways to get hold of these Indian-made vaccines. Joining us on the broadcast is Ambassador Deepak Vohra to give us a better understanding of what exactly it means that the Chinese are now turning to Indian drugs. Ambassador Vohra, does this in fact solidify or rather, present itself as proof of the fact that China has not been able to manage the pandemic, sir? The fact that Chinese drugs, Chinese vaccines, as much as they want to boast about it, have not been able to make the cut to help China combat the virus in the first place.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Always a pleasure to be with you in the morning on NewsX. What a wonderful day way to begin the day, even though we are dealing with a topic that is not so exciting. I see that our son, Major Muhammad Ali Shah, an outstanding soldier of India, is on your show too. It's a learning experience for me. You know, you've hit the nail on the head. I couldn't have put it better than the way you had said it. As the new year begins, China is in serious trouble. Nemesis is catching up with China. There are severe resource, energy scarcity, agricultural short, natural disasters, raging uncontrolled virus, soaring prices, growing income disparity, the worst peacetime demographic collapse in history, and a growingly hostile international environment. Ma'am, you might recall that it hit the Wuhan pneumonia, as it was called, for weeks from November 2015, during which time 5 million frightened residents of Wuhan fled the city, carrying the pathogen with them. Then its diaspora returned to their countries of residence, infecting local people. Do you recall, ma'am, that in the early weeks of the virus attack, Chinese firms exported millions of masks and other emergency materials to lesser developed nations? The quality was very, very poor. There were reports that some masks were made from used underwear. Now, as its health system is collapsing, no one is coming forward to help. The virus that ping pong has created has begun to devour him. Ma'am, according to the best estimate I've seen, half of China's population will be infected with its own virus in 2023. Millions will die. Chinese crematoria, as you rightly said, are overburdened. The wait time is 1 month. Those seeking early access to cremate their relatives can jump the queue, I'm told by my Chinese friends, for US dollars 5,000. Not many poor people can afford this, as they spend all their money on food that is becoming more expensive by the day. You know, a common lament today in China? We cannot afford to live. We cannot afford to die. On social media, as you've rightly pointed out, they are talking about where to buy Indian generic medicines that are very effective. Where are these being smuggled from? From Dubai and Pakistan, and are available in the black market. Chinese living in Singapore and Thailand are queuing up to buy basic medicines and sending them to their relatives in China. The situation is desperate, but as always, ma'am, 30 seconds more. China will deal with it. It has abandoned its zero COVID policy. Now the official policy is zero death. So they'll keep denying that anybody dies in China. China lies. When will Tingling, Ding Bong, Bing Bong, whatever his name is, when will he do the world a favor, man? His country is suffering. Mr. Dingling, if you're watching this show, please do the world a favor. Go away. Hand over to somebody else. Allow your good people a chance to live. While you are around, they are not going to live.
Ambassador Vohra, how is it that international bodies, such as the World Health Organization, are currently silent on what is happening in China? I mean, when we were trying to build our own vaccines, when it was Covaxin that was in question, WHO delayed giving approvals to Covaxin. They gave very, very fast approvals to Sinovac and other Chinese-made vaccines. Now we see the situation in China versus the situation in India. How is it that the WHO is silent, is missing in action, not saying anything, no words coming from there?
Put it brilliantly, the World Health Organization, ma'am, is a joke, like the entire UN system. It's an egregious, what can I say? It's just not funny. The American senator had famously said, if you held ping pong upside down and shook him vigorously, would the WHO fall out of his pocket? When the whole world was suffering from the virus, the Director General, that crazy fellow of the World Health Organization, he was composing poems in honor of ping pong. Till the world said, what on earth are you doing? Then he turned around and said, oh, sorry. First, the Chinese said there is no human-to-human transmission. So he screamed, he swore on the Bible, there's no human-to-human transmission. Then the Chinese said, oh, sorry, we forgot, there is. Then he swore again, yes, there is. Then the Chinese said, you can deal with it through this method. He swore, you can deal with it through this method. Chinese said, this method is not effective. He swore this method is not effective. What do you expect from an organization like this? It's just too old. I mean, like the UN system that is 77 years old. I don't know how many 77-year-old things. Don't look at me, I'm 71. You have in your home that you still find useful. The World Health Organization, as you brilliantly put it, ma'am, is missing in action. And the only hope of the world today, I say this with a sense of responsibility and of pride. The hope for the world today, as the UN Secretary General acknowledged, is India's vaccine manufacturing capability.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.